This Scorpio full moon is square Pluto. I should just end the video there. This is wild. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the cross-quarter fire festival of Beltane, otherwise known as May Day. May Day's more of a Christian side of this tradition, which is focusing more on the purity of the feminine energy, whereas Beltane is the union between the horn god and the fertile goddess, because this in the northern hemisphere is when the earth energies is at its most potent. The sun is at its peak. We are seeing the buds, the flowers all in blooms. I have cut some flowers from my lovely garden. I'm so lucky. I've got so many wildflowers growing. And so this is really representing the element of manifestation here. And it's always best to celebrate Beltane with the full moon that happens either at the end of April or the beginning of May. And this is the Scorpio full moon that's happening on the 23rd or the 24th of April, depending on where you live. And as I said at the beginning, it's linked into Pluto. Hello and welcome. My name's Chloe. I work with card divination, astrology, and as you just heard, and as you can see, I channel multi-dimensional energies through my body. Both the vocal light language and the physical light language. All of this is drawing on energies to help us heal, attune, and activate into manifesting a unique understanding of our soul's experience in this incarnation. We are in the year of the dragon. We are in a year 8 cycle. This period, specifically in the northern hemisphere, is all about everything that we've been working on over the last year, in the 7 year, everything that we've been planting seeds and taking those steps to activate from the spring equinox. This is the midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. So we are now going to start to see the fruits of our labor build and build and build. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down 1, the meaning of Beltane, 2, the astrology of this full moon, of how the celestial bodies are talking to each other at the exact moment of the full moon that forms a narrative, a harmonic blueprint. Even though it's a full moon and it represents completions and a sense of a peak energy of celebration, I see lunations as download points, right? So the energy of this narrative is downloading into our vessel that will then unfold over the next 6 months, because we are constantly in a loop from the new to the full moon, for the full moon to the new moon. And so this is going to be impacting you over the next 6 months and unfolding. I'm going to be pulling some collective tarot cards as well while I talk about all of this. But I just want to say the 2 sort of main channeled messages that have been coming through, and the card, I've pulled these oracle cards. I always do that before doing a transit, and just kind of blew me away at how in alignment they were with what I'd been channeling. I had a particular clarification of a certain crystallization of a channeling that I'd already been working through with my Scorpio sun friend, who I've known for nearly my whole life. So it's really beautiful to see. And the first one is an empowerment of your creation energy and standing very proud within it. And the other one is more of this sort of Scorpio rules the sexual organ, so that creation energy is very powerful there. But there is this element with Scorpio of going into the darkness. And that can activate levels of paranoia, insecurities, sort of some of the deeper, darker energies that we work with on this planet. They're not negative, but they have a level of intensity. So this is working on everything that we've been building on, particularly with that activation with the solar eclipse in Aries. If you haven't seen it, totally recommend it. We've got a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happening a couple of days before this full moon. Mercury's going to go direct a couple of days afterwards. There's a lot going on here, and we're building on this reconnection to our soul. Right, that is us, getting beneath the trauma responses and the limiting beliefs, and we're now stepping into our power with that through our instincts. Because of this huge activation, this can bring up the old paradigms. This can bring up fear, anxiety, worry, worst case scenarios. Hello, Ace of Wands showing up. I feel like it's wanting to show up in reverse while I'm talking about this, but it is actually upright in the activation. Itu fiali atufa. We've got the shadow card. Ishine and Thanos. Itu di shalama uta. Removing of the blockages. Itu isheli amodui tiali mo utufala. What was I saying? Yeah, that because we've gone through such a huge activation, we're entering into another portal of soul liberation and manifestation of abundant opportunities. That's the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Just finished that transit. Go check that out. That is part of a 13 to 14 year cycle that we're now activating. But we, because of these old narratives coming up, we can then feel like we've fallen off our perch, like we've missed something, that we're not good enough because we're thinking these thoughts or feeling these feelings, and there's a lot of shame here, and a lot of fear. And what really was lol, jokes. Oh, universe, you are a cosmic troll. 9 of Swords. This was showing up a lot in the reverse and upright for as a tool that we're working with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Fear and worry means we are not in the present moment, right? Taurus, where the sun will be for this full moon, is about our physical senses and being present with the wisdom of the earth and the love of the earth. And so the second major channeled message is that rather than being in fear of these narratives when they pop up, it's this more sort of the multi-dimensional spaces, the multiverse within your mind. Hello, the moon's card. That the high priestess. Sorry if I'm all over the place. The high priestess, if you're new, this is what I'm like. Regulars, hello. That the high priestess has such deep faith and knowing that she is drawing towards her that which serves fertility and abundance, represented by the pomegranate. There's moving of the third eye. That she's not in fear. She knows her needs are going to be met. She knows her intuition is in alignment, right? She showed up so much for every sign in the solar Aries eclipse because the moon was covering the sun, which has activated a strengthening of our intuition. Right. Second channeling is that we are going to be activating a cycle of making peace with all the narratives in our minds. The good, the bad, and the ugly, all of it. Let them run their course, right? We are developing the inner peace, the inner calm, and realizing that we are, my third eye is throbbing right now, that we are cultivating this inner peace and not denying all the other emotions and all the other experiences. You are a multifaceted being. You are capable of holding space for many different things. And so this, with the Scorpio, with the intensity of Scorpio, and that power of going into the darkness, but not attaching ourselves too heavily to the experience where we get stuck in the pit. And allowing, those worries, those fears, those insecurities to be there, to not shame them, to not reject them, and finding peace as they unroll and unravel, right? You go do something else while they're playing out. Allow, every moment, every multiverse, every situation is happening in your being in this moment. We are moving away from conflict of expectations and assumptions and allowing all of those experiences to happen without us thinking we're getting derailed, that we're no longer in source, in love and light, right? Scorpios are very, in the compost energy. That we live on a planet that is equal day and equal night twice a year. Duality, polarity is part of our existence. And we shouldn't be in fear of it. Fear is just helping us point in the direction of what is an illusion. So this is letting go of a lot of energy here where we can get stuck in that intensity rather than acknowledging that it's present within us, but it's not fully attached. We are everything and nothing all at once. Yeah, and as I said, especially with the big activations that we've been having, we're now integrating them, and often that brings up the old paradigms that bubble to the surface because they are being released. It's not necessarily that they're going to go away forever and completely disappear, but it's the intensity of our entanglement and our connection to those heavier energies that are blocking our ability to understand that we are source, we are abundant, we are in flow, right? Allowing us to step into our true nature. Oh, look at that. 3 of Swords, 9 of Pentacles. So this card was a very poignant card for the Leo full moon. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this moon is square Pluto in Aquarius. The Sun and Pluto walked together into the sign of Aquarius. So it was either on the 20th or the 21st of January, depending on where you live. And not long after that was the Leo full moon. You know, Leo rules the heart. Right? This is an activation of clearing out those old wounds that's allowing us to be independent and know where to go and what to do in order to bring abundance into our lives. I will be doing a separate oracle card reading. I'll try and remember that they were prioritizing focusing on the Thanos card. And now over the agape energy, which is that unconditional love. Italiana, itini mo tufina, ishali mo tini. This is actually Venus in Virgo. So let's talk about Beltane for a little bit. This is, as I said, there's 4 cross-quarter fire festivals that happen in between the solstices and the equinoxes. And this is called Beltane. And Beltane is this element of the goodly fire. It's a great time to light a fire, stay up all night, watch dawn come up. It's a very magical time of year. It's like Samhain, where at dawn and dusk, the veil is thin between the worlds. And so there's this element of staying up all night, seeing dawn, setting intentions around this time, asking questions, being curious about the veil. And we jump over the fire and release the old cycle. And bring in a cleansing and activation of manifestation. It's a huge fertility festival where we are activating potent life force and manifestation on not only the physical plane but the spiritual and mystical. This is when the ley lines, the dragon lines, the earth energy lines, the grid formations are at their peak power. The previous cross-quarter fire festival was Imbolc. And that was a activation of those seeds that we'd planted, and then seeing them and figuring out what wasn't working, and then knowing what steps to take next before the spring equinox, when we are starting to then really put it into action. And as I said at the beginning, we're now seeing the fruits of our labor, not fully because we're not at the harvest yet, but we're really starting to see that come into being. And really what we want to do now is like harness that dragon energy. I've got this beautiful dragon here that I bought around the time of Beltane last year. I'll put the link to the woman who made this in the description box. It was a very angelic energy that came through with that when I first touched it. But there's this, so the dragon lines, the energy lines are really, really rampant at the moment. One of the things to do around Beltane is to go get your dowsing rods out, get your pendulum out, and then see where it takes you. It's also a tradition of walking through the labyrinth, because we are then coming out the other side, and the light is shining on us, and we are able, through the journey that we've gone through, be able to then start activating the next cycle with the potent force of manifestation, with the clarity that we've had over the last cycle. It is a time when, this is the reason why it's celebrated around the full moon, because everyone would go out into the forest and they would union with one another. It was a big fertility energy. This is when it was believed that the horn god and the fertile goddess would come together, and through their union pour that energy back into the earth to help activate and strengthen the manifestation energy. Now, union doesn't have to be of a sexual nature, right? We get it a bit twisted and focus on that predominantly, and it's making me think of the fifth house of the creation energy, right? Our organs, our sexual organs, are a crucible for creation. And that is in any form. And it is the union of the masculine and feminine within us. And making peace with that duality, honoring the yin and the yang of it all. That when we are in union with self, the flow. This figure, as I said, very independent, knows what to do in order to create this abundance. It's not necessarily about riches, but feeling good in the 3D world. We have an alignment coming in that helps us. We're following our intuition and our instincts. We're not trying to control situations to activate this manifestation. So it is about the union within yourself, with spirit, that clearing the clutter, allowing more flow, that means that our hello, big intuition energy. Itofala, Queen of Cups and the Moon with the High Priestess. Whoa. Very watery, intuitive energy of that Scorpio moon. And of because this is a very yin moon, this is the receptivity of observing and being in flow and not forcing nature and allowing yourself to unfold. We've got the Queen of Cups. She's serenity for me. She's so serene with her environment that her foot is turning into the ocean. She is looking far into the future. Her perspective is broad. I'm just going to have to pause. I've got a tickle building up. I do apologize. This seems to happen whenever there's a Mercury retrograde. And also, we've got some throat chakra stuff coming up and being activated and cleared with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So the Queen of Cups, as I was saying, she can see really far and wide. She can see in the future. She's very psychic. And she's not in fear. The moon, Pisces energy. This is where Mars is, the ruler of this full moon. And this is about activating our psychic, intuitive nature, our sensitivity where we aren't scared to be in the darkness. We aren't scared about the unseen. Because this card is being backed up by the High Priestess and the Queen that is really allowing the flow of the magic to come through and stepping out at that fear of that Nine of Swords, that even if we don't know what's going on, there's a faith within us, there's that serenity within us that allows us to play with this energy. Okay, so what was I talking about? Big fertility energy, the horn god, right? Horny is a sort of slang word for lust, and lust for life. Lust in Old German meant religious joy. The strength card, which I'm going to talk about because that's Leo, is another word for that is lust, right? And the sense of balance within ourselves, a harmony within ourselves allows us, we're not fighting, we're not in conflict, we're not trying to dominate. That means that we are able to tap into the joy of existence. So we're with Beltane, we're activating a transformation through union that is sacred in the nature of opposites. So often in the spiritual community, we can prioritize the light over the darkness. And this is where we then see the extremes of the unintegrated darkness energy show up really loudly, because we're in denial of that part of ourselves. We're in denial of that energy that is very present in the universe. And so when we're denying something's existence, it gets really loud. You think about how as a species, right, as an individual, we like to be seen, we like to be understood, we like to connect. And when we don't get that, that's when things get rampant. That's when things get twisted. Hello, Saturn, the world. So, what this is highlighting to me is this is know thyself and the world will open up. That through knowing the darkness, for see here, she's got two wands representing the polarity, representing the duality. And what it was acting when this card came out and I saw it is it's not about, so I just talking about not being seen and then it getting twisted. We don't cultivate a practice from an early age of inner peace and inner acceptance, where there's this, through survival mechanisms, we're reliant on our parental figures and our caregivers, and that gets very embedded. That we need to, as we age and as we grow, Saturn's a very mature energy, there's a deeper understanding of knowing the less you seek external recognition, the less your needs are only met by the external, the more conflict you're in, the more you might find yourself on the defensive. Mars rules Scorpio traditionally. It's a yin energy, and so Mars is more that more protective, more defensive energy. It can be there's this element of we're shifting away from the conflict side of Mars to a bringing up of strength within ourselves, strength within this inner protection that we have, that we are no longer getting distorted by the external. And that we, by seeing the self, we liberate so much entanglement with the outside world, which then allows that flow of that very intuitive nature to come through, where we are then in flow and union with the external, by not I think I've said what I've needed to say. For some words, those words are sort of there. There's a heaviness there. Because it's not about denying connection. It's about first making that peace within ourselves. And then the connection will flow. So, Beltane, as I was saying, this is a great time to get out your pendulum, your dowsing rods, see where they take you. Just generally go for a walk out in nature. I mentioned jumping over a fire, releasing something on the first jump. And then on the second jump, what are you activating? This is a great time to plant seeds. I planted some seeds around the time of the eclipse cycle, and their root system hasn't done so well. So planting seeds around a full moon is a great time, because then the moon starts to wane and it starts to go inward. And so this is when the seeds establish their root system. And also we've moved past the eclipse season. So this is a great time to plant seeds, to plant some vegetables, whatever it was you want to do, and just tap into this very potent magnetic energy that we have here. Okay, so let's get into the astrology. We have this full moon in Scorpio. Scorpio, as I said, is ruled by Mars. So with a full moon, there is an element of a completion cycle, of a celebration, of an activation where our intuition is heightened. Which we've already seen show up very loudly in the cards. Okay, so that I'm talking about the moon in Scorpio right now. And the moon represents our needs, our nourishment, and our intuition, our emotional body. I've got the 8 of Swords. And what this feels like for me is the square with Pluto, of old limitations being transformed, right? These cages that we find ourselves in. So I was talking about if you get a narrative in your head that's going worst case scenario, or you're making assumptions about what other people are thinking about you or something that you've done or whatever it is, the multitude of the capacity of the human brain to the monkey mind, to put itself into a cage, right? Even though everything is in fact inherently an illusion. This coming up in reverse with the 3 of Cups, this is more about union and celebration and abundance and flow and joy and emotional support. That this full moon is releasing a lot of the fixed emotions that we have within us that have caused a blockage around this energy. And in the process of that release, the release of the fear, the release of just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. I mean, there is that energy. I always like using that with Scorpio, but there's that bluntness of Scorpio that's able to then turn around to that paranoia and go, I'm gonna laugh and call bullshit. Basically saying, you do you explore that particular cage, but I am free, I am limited, I am liberated, I am in flow. It's fixed water, these fixed emotions that we have within us, this intensity, this container. I love Scorpio energy. Most of the people in my life that have been very prominent are Scorpio. I've got a Virgo sun, so they get along, and I always find with Scorpio, they're able to say the things that might be going on inside my head that I don't necessarily have the balls to say out loud. There is a real sense of straightforward energy. But as I said, there's that flip side of the paranoia. And what we want to do is use that very strong martial energy of I am protecting my inner peace. I am bringing together, I cut the deck and got the Knight of Cups, this is, and through that protection, which isn't about putting the walls up, it's just knowing that you are powerful, knowing that you are empowered. You have the capacity to stand in the darkness and still find the light. We've got the Knight of Cups here, very Mars in a water sign. Mars is currently in Pisces. And this is the true romantic. So I really feel like we're liberating some stagnant energy. If you think about a lake or a pond that has built up its debris, hasn't been able to compost those energies, right? Scorpio is very much about composting, about things being turned over and turned into nutrients. Pluto's also very much about composting, that if there's a blockage there, that causes slime and mold and stagnation. And when you're around water that's like not healthy, I really feel that with this, what's coming through here, we are releasing a lot of those blockages. The Knight of Cups is able to move through with its intuition and really be able to see life in a beautiful way. Those rose tinted spectacles, in a really positive way, and like really being in your flow rather than in the stuck energy. So what Moon in Scorpio, very heightened intensity. A lot of things are going to be revealed because it is about bringing things to the surface. We're certainly going to see that on the collective level, but what I feel like it's bringing up the root of that Scorpio energy, that very passionate, intense, powerful energy, to magnetize the vibrancy of your emotional being. Human beings, our emotions are one of our key tools. Itala and powerhouses, right? And so it's about harnessing that power, activating that. And the sun is over in the sign of Taurus. This is Venus's land. This is the physical senses of feeling good in the 3D realm, of the flowers, stopping to pause and smell the flowers. So it's very fixed energy here. So we are activating a culmination of old fixed energy that's stagnant. Cut the deck, got the 5 of Cups. There's grief is a very powerful energy. It's I've got the 9 of Cups as well in reverse. That there's obviously reason to be in a state of grief, but I feel like this is more a general energy rather than a specific situation of those fixed energies within us that are stuck. Of seeing that 3 of Cups and not feeling that it's gone. 9 of Cups in reverse, not feeling. This is very sort of Taurian energy of feeling good in your 3D body, that's then feeding into your emotional body. This is a sense of satisfaction and gratitude and abundance internally. So these two cards are being what's cleared out. Ichati ma o tu fiali ma ilatiana ma o tu fiala. Itala di shala ma o tu fiala ma. Itina do shinima itini. So this is all squaring Pluto, which is wild. So this is not only a important square with this full moon, but the sun is making its first square since it conjoined Pluto back on the 20th or the 21st of January, depending on where you live. I've put that date in the description box. So with squares, we see manifestation. We see things coming into being. It is the builder energy. It's a martial energy. It's about creating in the 3D realm. So we have this opposition with the sun and the moon, a sense of a vision and clarity, a heightened intuition, of finding a new pathway of how our needs are met in the Scorpio area of our life, and it's squaring Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is all about universal truths, an activation of a transformation back into our galactic energy, of being able to find a sense of clarity in our vibrational frequency. A magnetism, a real innate id power. There's a real sense of transformative energy that's happening here, not only with Pluto, but with Scorpio. For modern astrologers, Pluto rules Scorpio. So that may be part of your practice to apply that energy as well. Is forming a T square. This is when we have an opposition and Pluto here and forming a T. And the release point is the T square. So the release point is Pluto, which is why this feels like a recalibration of the frequencies. Aquarius is the collective air sign. It is the higher perspective. And you've got the Ace of Pentacles coming out. With the Athena. This is about the truce. Oh, what came into my head was we're getting out of distorted matrices. Tower card, Mars's card. Those structures are being pulled down that have again created that stagnant energy. That we are entering into a new 3D realm, pentacles, of communication, messages, opportunities, or with this matrix coming down, Ishalida, with this square, this release point of that Plutonian energy. We've got the Tower showing up with the Two of Wands in reverse, the Fool, the Death card, right? So the Death card is Scorpio. The Tower is Mars, ruler of Scorpio. The Tower pulls down the structures from the top, right? The superfluous energy. So the sort of the gunking, stagnant matrix. And I'm not saying that with any shame. It's just a fact that some matrices don't allow for fluidity. I'm not denying the reason why they're there and the experiences that we needed from them. And also, it's not necessarily that they're going to disappear. It's just your attachment to them. It's going to be incorporated where you're no longer rejecting that. So it then becomes a tool for you to use rather than it completely containing you and restricting you from other matrices. So this is pulling things down. Our foundations are still strong. With the Death card, again, Scorpio energy. This figure is protected, is walking into a new landscape, is honoring what it needs to let go of, right? The monarch is no more. Things that have had an authority over you that haven't served you. Focusing on the Three of Swords here. And honoring, okay, so it's one of my main tenets that everybody, every energy, everything are all part of the same crew. They've just got different roles and different jobs to do, right? There's this very much the energy of the master teacher, and that tends to be difficult energies that create I'm really trying to be very neutral in the words that I'm using, but there is that element of conflict, of anger, of restrictions, of pain, grief, heartbreak, all of that create fear and worry. people, situations that have come into your life, I've had plenty of them, that ended up teaching me a great deal about myself and a great deal of actually, well, how do I want to respond to this? What do I need from this? And so often we can have those energies in our life, whether it's in the 3D or the metaphysical, the external or the internal, and they've just got a job to do. I'm always reminded of my last ex long-term relationship, romantic partner. Now, his behavior, he's admitted himself, was abusive. So I'm not saying that lightly. And it really was a head fuck. So funny, whenever I do Scorpio and Aries readings, I end up swearing way more than usual. But I came to the realization before he said out loud what his behavior was. I came to the realization that he signed up in this lifetime, his soul contract. I knew we had a very strong connection. I knew we'd been on this rodeo many times before. And because of that strong connection, he signed up for the job of being like, I'm going to mess you up because there's some lessons that you need to learn in order to get into your own empowerment. And the moment I came into that true realization, I really felt that very embodied. And there's been many other people in my life that I feel the same about, that our relationship dynamic after that went into a state of flow. Not that we got back together or anything, but we are friends, we care about one another. It completely shifted because I was no longer in conflict with the soul agreement not only he made, but I made. So these cards are really like sort of shouting at me with this truth card of coming to peace with the dialogue around us, both internal and external, that is moving away from the stagnancy of the restriction of the, what's the word that I want to say, of the frustration, the grief, the limitations, the just that heaviness of restriction that I'm feeling. We're activating a big liberation energy with the Uranian Jupiter. 35 minutes, not too bad. The Uranian energy. And this is solidifying the purging of some of that liberation energy very, very quickly. And then activating this beautiful energy. It feels very empowering. We got it with the Fool, and the Two of Wands in reverse. So the Fool is Uranian energy. It's about operating from the heart space and going out into the world with curiosity and wonderment. Yes, there's a naivety here because this figure is about to step off a cliff. Danger, right? The protective Scorpio paranoid energy would be like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. But there's this level of we are stepping into a new understanding and not letting that fixed energy hold us into repeating cycles. And then transforming that into the utmost wonder of the pure ability to be in a continual state of transformation. So the Two of Wands is about getting the lay of the land. It's about long-term manifestation, but there is a fixity to it, right? It's the having received the Ace of Wands, the inspiration, figuring out what to do with it. And then the Three of Wands is about going out into the world. But there is an element of fixed energy here. So this is, again, what I just said about changing that Scorpio energy into being at peace and seeing the curiosity, joy, the wonder, the love of being in a constant state of evolution and transformation, rather than the fixity here. That we are entering into a new cycle of Italima, Agilima. That's so great for Beltane. Itala. Entering into a new cycle that allows us to be in a state of union, right? That Beltane energy. And very interestingly enough, the water in this cup, so I have big jars that I let the chlorine come off the water and have filters in, but I put tarot cards underneath, and the Two of Cups was underneath the jar that I picked with this one today. Not intentionally, but I did think it was quite funny. This is the union of the masculine and feminine spirit with respect, honor, and dignity. Right, I need to get on with talking about this astrology. Okay, we've got the Three of Cups, three of Pentacles, and the Sun. This is about mastery of self, and through that we bring in collaboration to build something beautiful and long-lasting. And we've got the freedom, the liberation, the joy coming in. Right, so we've got the square with Pluto. That is one of the major aspects with planets that the sun and the moon are making. They are making and forming what's called a cradle with 2 asteroids. I will put the chart up on my community page. I used to put it up on my Instagram page, but I've noticed they don't play the song that you choose if you do that, if you have more than one picture. But it will be up on the community page if you want to look at what a cradle looks like. I mean, I can just show it, actually, to be honest. There's a lot going on in this chart. Right, can you see? So the moon is here. We've got Juno here, and there's a little blue line. We've got Vesta here, blue line, and then Vesta to the sun, blue line, and then the opposition is the red line. That is a cradle that we are then birthed out of into Pluto. Which is wild. Okay, so the 2 asteroids. Juno, the asteroid of commitment, your ride or die, what are you sticking by, what's truly important to you, is sextiling the moon. So this is it, and it's in the sign of Virgo. And so Virgo, we are activating a new cycle of the curiosity of the curiosity of the challenges of the world, right? Rather than the problems, shifting away from judgment and criticism. I feel like we've really navigated a lot of that energy. Juno's committing to us healing in the 3D, facilitating our 3D experience. A sextile is an aspect of Venus. So there's a sense of connection, love, appreciation, and value between the moon and Juno. Of embedded commitment of this new activation. It's also trine the sun. And so there's a real sense of vision and clarity of expansion, of a knowing that our sun, of where our purpose is in alignment to our commitment on the 3D world, and we have the capacity to facilitate that. Now, Vesta is over in the sign of Cancer, and is sextiling the sun and Juno. So Vesta is about devotion. And dedication. She's about the internal flame. Italima, or she's also linked into soul contracts very strongly. Italia, and the sanctity of them. Italima, o shalima, oto. And I'd completely forgotten about Vesta while I was talking about soul contracts. That's hilarious. Also, my ex was a Scorpio, so it's not surprising I'm talking about him here. Vesta in the sign of Cancer has been activating a deeper connection to our personal understanding of our emotional body and our personal intuition. Italima, hello Virgo. Itali atufi ali ala di shani atufa di shani atufa. Okay, so Yisha. I feel that this is the cradle energy here. So Vesta is activating a rebirth of our understanding, our emotional body's understanding of those soul contracts. So again, that liberation of the Tower and the Death card, and then shifting into more alignment intuitively with what we're guided to in terms of our future soul contracts. That is, part of this cycle of our intuitive, instinctive nature being in flow with our soul and the abundance of the universe. She is sextiling Juno, so there's a level of commitment here of facilitating that in the 3D realm, that Virgoan energy, that sort of the ability to navigate the 3D. It's Earth, it's Mercury, see the details and implement them. Trying the moon. So bringing in a sense of wisdom and elevation between the moon over in Scorpio, of that intensity, of that power that we have within us, within our sexual organs, within our creation energy, the ability to constantly be in a state of transformation, in alignment with the devotion to our emotional body, where we are not distorting that anymore. Vesta is also sextile the sun. So there's a sense, again, of connection and harmony between our physical body, our 3D realm, the vision, with these new soul contracts, with our level of devotion to our intuition. So the Hermit and Temperance, with the Ace of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and the Ten of Cups. So this is saying this full moon is bringing in a level of alignment where we are very confident within ourselves. The Hermit, again, this is going back to not seeking the external. The Hermit is a cultivation of your inner light, the deep wisdom that you find within yourself, the alchemizing of this into our angelic frequency, right? The tempering of this as it unfolds. The play that we have of Sagittarius, of our ability to adapt. Very mutable energy here. Love that showing up with this fixed energy. This water is going upright, representing magic and doing something different. We are recalibrating into our soul angelic frequency that is providing a new experience on this 3D realm of messages of magic, opportunities of magic, of synchronicities and of love, that is bringing a level of the externalization of that 9 of Cups, of the 10 of Cups, right? So the outward expression out into the world of our internal peace. So here's the fertility god showing up. Right, very, very, very quickly. Mars is still in sextile with the Uranus, Jupiter conjunction. Talk about that in the last transit in way more detail, but essentially this is a very harmonious aspect that Mars is under, that is allowing us our instinctive motivations, our drives being in alignment with source, that Piscean energy of those synchronicities, fusing our ability to liberate our soul's path. Uranus, find new opportunities of abundance through our intuitive actions, and all of this is feeding into this full moon, is influencing this full moon of really activating a very heavily yin space. Now Venus is ruling the sun, and Venus is very closely conjunct Chiron. She has been for a little while now, and this is the soothing of, and this is why we've got the Queen of Wands showing up, the soothing of our wounds, and empowering us as our individual journey, the I am of Aries, as being the true master teacher of our experiences. Again, that's very independent Scorpio energy. That is allowing us to, again, not get distorted by the external. The devil. This is Pan, right? This is before the Christians came along and turned it into a bad thing. This is the horn god. This is the fertility that we are building in the 3D realm. It's Capricorn. Ceres is over in the sign of Capricorn, trining Jupiter and Uranus, trining Lilith over in Virgo. And the reason why that's important is because Lilith is opposite Mars. This is my Lilith card, weirdly enough, because Lilith doesn't like hypocrisy, doesn't like hierarchical structures that don't make any sense. Oh, okay, I'm still good. I've got 46 minutes. And we'll question that, and will want to seek resolution where you're treated with honor, respect, and dignity. And if you're not getting that, you let that energy move through you, move past you, and you get back to doing you. But so we've got the trine in earth signs. Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, activating a very abundant magical cycle. Lilith, incredibly independent, right? The sense of empowerment and seeking equality, respect, honor, dignity. Ati shali maota in Virgo. So our ability to facilitate this energy and bring it into the 3D realm through our observations, through our ability to facilitate and bring practical possibilities and creation into life. Itala with Ceres, the earth grain goddess mother, the harvest, the abundance over in Capricorn, a grand earth trine that's activating the nourishment of our long-term legacy, Capricorn energy, our ability to facilitate our independence in the 3D socially, Virgo, that's allowing us to bring about opportunities into the 3D and for our physical senses and our personal connection to the 3D to be elevated and expanded, and a deep faith in the 3D with that all that intuitive energy of the Pisces, Mars and Pisces, Moon in Scorpio, Vesta in Cancer, all being activated, where we are no longer fighting our own nature. We are no longer fighting our intuition and restricting ourselves by competition, fear, scarcity mindsets. Now, Lilith is opposite Mars. So we've got this incredible empowerment of the practical magic of the Virgo Pisces contingent, right? Of our motivations, our drives, our actions being infused by that ability to go, okay, this isn't serving me. I'm not rejecting it. I'm not judging it or criticizing it. I am simply reorientating back into my own energy and surrendering and letting that unfold and watching my own, how I then move through the world without the entanglement that then will start to see more abundance come in, more of those relationships then shift and change because you're no longer internally fighting with everything. That yin, that very inner space, very esoteric space of Mars, the god of war, no longer the internal battle. So let's that's pretty much everything that I want to say. Mercury's going to go direct a couple of days afterwards. Let's go back to Pluto. So these are, I feel, very much linked into Pluto because this is the Pluto card with the Six of Swords and the Page of Swords. So we are activating a cycle of knowing what core principles within us are. And even though it's swords, right? So this is the a release point of that Aquarius energy. It's through our emotional body that I really feel when we feel at peace, when you feel at ease, that you're going to know what mindset you're taking with you into this new landscape. And Pluto is transforming the power of that with this Judgment card, this sense of resurrection, the sense of ascension of the dead, right? All the wounds from the ancestors, from the past lives, being at peace and elevating. There's not only you, but all of those energies going on this new journey into this new experience. With the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is able to look to the past, but is heading to the future, but is remaining in the present. And it's doing so with ease. So there's a sense of a new dynamic of your understanding of anxiety, of worry, of fear, that allows you to honor the cycles of time, both past, present, and future happening all at once. That it's not about not looking to the past. It's not about thinking about the future, but it's about maintaining that internal now space. Right, let's get a final message for this Scorpio moon. Woo! Trying to keep this under an hour. Oh, I think I'm doing quite good. Is there anything else that I wanted to say? I think I covered most of it. It's a very it's a very yin moon, lots of stuff going on. We've got a feedback loop because Mars is influencing the moon. Mars is in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter's in Taurus, ruled by Venus. So like the previous Jupiter-Uranus transit and the previous solar eclipse, we've got a feedback loop between Mars, Venus, and Jupiter in terms of rulership energy. So this is the influence on the moon. Now, Mars is our motivation and drive. It's a personal planet. Venus is our connection, our love. So we've got our pleasure and our desire intermingling, the two personal planets in union with Jupiter, which is the yes planet, the expansive, the elevation, the wisdom, the knowing, the truth, the faith within yourself, the opportunities and luck. So we are recalibrating into our personal motivations and drives and desires to connect in a more positive mindset. Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So this is about this is quite funny. So, I said planted seeds, but we did have an eclipse cycle around the time when seeds were supposed to be planted. That this is about planting those seeds, tending to them on a day-to-day basis. But there's an element of frustration of not seeing things grow. In reverse, I feel like we are still tending to those seeds, but we are no longer frustrated. That we are going to be seeing, this is with the Beltane energy, Ati Shalima, more manifestation of the work that we've done over the previous cycle. Cut the deck and got the eight of Pentacles. That's hilarious. So this is whistle while you work. This is the level of mastery that we're heading into. That is with this level. This is the sun in Aries. This is a very empowering energy of the I am, that we're still very much in this energy of we're going on that new journey. We don't quite know how it's going to unfold. We're going to enjoy the process of the mastery of self in the 3D realm. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I certainly did. Got the Lover's card. Just fancied a final card. This is about that union that's coming through. And through that union, we are then able to make the right decisions at the crossroads that we come across. That as, you know, we've got the three angels showing up. Temperance, Judgment, and the Lovers. Again, the union of the masculine and feminine spirit that allows us to make the right choices, and that we aren't getting bogged down in the heaviness. We are able to move forward, very mutable energy. We're able to shift and change, and honor that transformative process. Right, okay, so if you enjoyed this video, it'd be an honor and a privilege if you hit the like button. I will be doing an all 12 signs video series. I'll be starting that after this video, so check that out, as well as the oracle reading. Be good to yourselves, be good to those around you, and most importantly, be well until we meet again.